I don't know if somebody's actually kind of map, but like where the shear bolts are. Yeah, did you guys put it back there?
Yeah.
I see a bunch of washers and pieces of bolt laying there. So
Yeah, we're getting
somebody might
the,
have-
yeah, going out there melted, yeah, we are getting the, washers, it takes like.
All right, everyone, I would like to call the February 23rd, 2017 Village of Webster board meeting to order. And Jake, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Cahill is battling the flu still, so I have the great honor of sitting here. First of all, as we start this evening, we have a presentation. Matt Chatfield, again Executive Director of the Webster Economic Development Alliance, is going to provide us with a summary of the 2016 activities and an overview of the anticipated organizational efforts and initiatives for this year, 2017, as they relate to the economic development here in the village. So I will turn it over to Matt.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to have to present from over here. 2017 is going to be a really busy year. 2016 was also really busy. We did a lot of work on the North Avenue project and getting that design well underway. We're feeling pretty good about that. Is there those showing up? Will it work from over here?
We'll find out in a moment.
When you test it out.
All right. Thank you for bearing with me. I forgot my own remote, so I was unaware that we were going to have one that was going to work. Okay. So 16 was a very busy year. We worked on the North Avenue project quite a bit. We actually conducted there's some really unique designs that we're trying to promote. Speak up. Can you hear me? Is this working? Fabulous. So we're promoting some really unique designs for especially the gateway at Route 104. We're very excited about the potential for that to really revitalize the entrance into our community. We feel that the design elements as being proposed, which could include some enhanced signage, a median, some significant landscape plantings, and some additional planters as well in that area will make a big change for the community. In addition to expanded sidewalks and new streetlights throughout the corridor. So that was the bulk of the effort in 16 was on a lot of the efforts that we began in 15. Including the ABC project, which we actually touched upon, a lot of the revitalization goals and strategies that you can see in your little handout there. We identified the goals and strategies in 15, and we started putting them into play in 2016. And then, as you'll see in 2017, we hope we can continue to make some good progress on those efforts. So just a quick overview of 17, as you can see on the screen, North Avenue project will move into construction hopefully this year. The chilled water study, which was something that we were awarded funding for a few years back, we should have an understanding of the financial feasibility of that this year, hopefully in the next month or so. And that was the opportunity to pull cold water out of Lake Ontario, use that to spur industrial development. And that industrial development, much of it could very well take place within the village, which would be a big job creator as well. Xerox campus master planning effort, we will begin that, development of master plan for the long-term future of the overall campus. We're coordinating right now with Xerox on that effort. We were awarded funding from RG&E and Empire State Development last year for that, which we will then undertake that this year. And ongoing Main Street business attraction efforts, we do have some vacancies. It's obviously recognized throughout the community that there are vacancies on Main Street. We're actively seeking to work with the existing investors and new investors to bring them here into our community. And then, of course, identifying that Village Catalyst project, which is something that came out of the revitalization strategy from 2015. So I keep talking about this revitalization strategy from 2015. It was the America's Best Communities. We were awarded funding to put this strategy together. It was our community investment strategy, and the findings from that basically indicated that the community desired the Village of Webster to become the core mixed-use and cultural entertainment hub in Webster. So that was the goal. That's what we want the village to become. It's received support from local businesses and the public at large. And how do we go about doing that? So some strategies that we wanted to go about undertaking were to improve convenience and functionality, walkability, make it an appealing place, provide unique destinations, and make it a vibrant place to live and to work. And how are we going to go about doing that? Well, we're a targeted streetscape village investments in the streetscape. Those efforts we started last year. New trees, planters, expanded planting areas that will again continue this year with expanded sidewalks, more street lights, and additional plantings as well on North Avenue. The Village Catalyst Development Project, we've identified a potential project at the Harmony House of making that a performing arts center. We think that there's some legs behind that so to really build on the cultural and historic resources that we have in our community and really take advantage of what's somewhat an unknown and unique gem here on the east side of the city. Also, the new 43 North project is also going to be considered a real catalyst development project. That's the revitalization of the former Ballman Holdings. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well. And of course, the industrial vision. So we want to talk about revitalizing the village and bringing people in. Jobs are also important to that. So what can we be doing to those industrial lands that are in the village to generate jobs and have those people, either decide to live in the village or dine and provide and purchase services from village businesses. So village streetscape improvements, we're going to be working on parking. Actually, the 43 North program, they've actually developed a really nice parking app on their website. They're going to be identifying where all the potential parking sites are within the village to support their business. And that's something that we can then expand upon and have other businesses utilize, directing them to that application, and really promoting the convenience and functionality of parking within the village, which there may be a perception that there isn't enough parking, but truly there is. And continuing to improve upon bike and ped amenities as well. The Catalyst Development Project, we were unsuccessful in 2016 to secure funding for that feasibility study, but you always don't, very rarely do you actually achieve what you set out to the first try, so we're going to identify additional funding sources and go after that this year as well. So we're hoping we can understand what the feasibility of making a bathroom, restroom, and air conditioning and comfort improvements, as well as some functional ADA accessibility improvements. So how can we make it a really high-functioning venue that majority of the community can enjoy? And then from there, the programming of that with additional concerts, meeting space, art gallery, you name it, just trying to understand what those opportunities are. The industrial development, the West Complex, which is the set of 3 buildings on the west side of Phillips Road. Indications are that we will be hearing an announcement likely in the next few weeks or a month or so, that there may be a potential buyer that has actually acquired that site for redevelopment. I know nothing other than that, but indications are that there is something big happening afoot, and hopefully it's very positive. Xerox has exited the buildings, the complex, in preparation for that. And as well, they've decided that they want to stop focusing on planning for that West Campus, that West Complex, those 3 buildings, and shift their efforts towards the larger campus, planning the future of that. So there's some good indication that there's some positive momentum, and I'm excited about what that could mean. Community promotions, continuing to develop promotional materials and then share them with businesses. You know, even as far as what you can see here is just promoting Webster as a destination for investment, food and beverage manufacturing. So developing promotional materials to promote it as a destination for manufacturing and commercial development, and then helping existing landlords. If there's a vacant spot, we'll develop handouts and promotional materials for them that they can then use in their marketing efforts. So, I mean, the next steps truly for the village revitalization efforts are to just continue to leverage that existing investment activity. Charlie Fitzsimmons is moving ahead quite rapidly with that 43° North project. He will be opening up his Pittsburgh, or his village bakery, hopefully in May. That's what I met with him this morning. He said that May-ish, early spring is when he wants to be open. There should be an adjoining business that would be very complementary. It's not, the ink isn't dry on the deal yet, so we can't announce who it is publicly, but it would be very exciting for that co-tenant to work with him in that lower building that used to be where the Ravinos and the OTB were located. Up on the street, lots of other opportunities for some new restaurants, maybe some home decor and home decor business to be located there, and a new salon and day spa going in as well. So some high-end development attracting people with some discretionary income that they can come in and spend in our community and really become a destination within the village. Securing funding for that Catalyst project and continuing to work with local businesses. So that's our efforts for 17. I'd be happy to answer any questions. The kind of the table you have in front of you kind of dials out, spells out a little bit more in particular. Some deadlines, what we want to do by when.
Have you made any contact with I think Julie Knight? She's right behind the secondhand things.
The children's.
Right, the children things. Right
Yeah,
across from AutoZone. She has a little tiny house that they're renting in the back. And she's doing furniture, refurbishing, very unique items for home decor. And they did some remodeling of that, but it's very small. She would like to run classes. And it may be an opportunity for her to move out of there to...
So across from the AutoZone?
Yes. A little house that sits...
Yeah,
the
you
only
only got
access.
to it at Ridge Road.
Right.
Yeah.
So furniture, like refurbishing of furniture?
Yes.
And some signs she makes. It's a really nice little shop. I'd love to have her right in the village.
Yeah, well, I was not aware, I was aware that there was a business, I wasn't aware of the actual business owner, so I will reach out. That's good.
I can talk to you more about it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and I had talked to several people about the parking and better ways to do what we're doing. There's like little divide things that separate parking lots, and if we could just kind of smooth that all over, there'd be more parking.
Oh,
And,
yeah, coordinated,
Yeah,
kind of like in the.
like down where Maraglia is down in like North Avenue, that little bump up, I mean, that could be another whole row of cars, but because of the way it's laid out, and I don't know who would be paying for it, and we've got so many little private ones, and if we could get more of them to work with us. Because Charlie talked about that too, at that. And so did Mark Vinci, Ravino's, when he moved back over there. So, I mean, maybe if we can just get a lot of the owners of these together and see if maybe we can get them to start working together instead of having all these little private.
No, I
It would
agree.
be easier on us too. And then make the signs bigger. Charlie even said he'd go for bigger signs. He'd help us out.
Is this a concept map for the
Yeah,
We
yeah,
also have wayfinding signs.
potential wayfinding signs.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the logo inset isn't anything
Right.
special right now. It could be whatever it ends up being, but, the idea is to identify where parking for so parking for restaurants or shopping. Coordinate, and combine wayfinding parking for businesses and for, the parking lots themselves.
So I have a question, Matt. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier. So how do you go about seeking new investors? I mean, what's the process for new investors? So on the other side of the village now that's going to be kind of empty. Like, how do you reach? I mean, what's the process you go through to?
Largely, I seek people that are already doing investing elsewhere in other, other projects that are successful. The goal is not to identify people that are brand new investors, but hopefully those with a track record and that would be willing to take on some level of risk because they're experienced with it. So going to other communities that are successful, people that have done investments in Pittsburgh and Victor, in Fairport, trying to, basically putting together the analysis of our community. So these are the demographics. These are, this is the age groups that we have in the community. This is the disposable and discretionary income that they possess. This is how many, we can actually say how many dollars are leaving the community. So we know that there's $7 million of potential revenue to be generated for sit-down restaurants, right? But we know that our locality is only absorbing 4 of that. So people are going out and they're spending $3 million. Webster folks are spending $3 to $4 million on dining outside of the community. So there's obviously a gap there. So we look at that sort of information and then connect the dots with who would be able to meet that service.
Matt, how are we taking advantage of the website for any of all of this? Like, say, for instance, remember we talked before, there's a vacant building for retail, commercial, whatever it may be. Are we doing anything on our website to kind of like somehow advertise any of that, or can we?
So the Alliance website actually has an opportunities section. It's actually a map. It's a Google map that we've populated with vacancies. So then it's broken down by use type. So we have, okay, these are second generation restaurants, which is a very high value site. The restaurants are very expensive to fit out. So a second generation restaurant that already maybe has a hood and relatively, all the kitchen infrastructure in it is very valuable. So we've color coded them. So you can go on the map and look at all these color coded dots, and the green ones I think are for second generation restaurants. And you click on it, and on there we have the amount of square footage and then the contact for the owner, so they could just reach out directly. So we have that for retail sites and industrial sites, land.
My guess is we have a link on our website to the Alliance.
I think there's a link, there's definitely a link to the Alliance website.
Yeah.
There might not be a direct link to that, so we can easily connect the dots on that.
That'd be great. Any other questions? Look forward to a busy year.
It's 17 should be actually 17 should be a really busy year. It feels like there's a lot up in the air, but I think things are going to start falling into place this year.
And construction begins down in North Ave?
It's still in the final design right now, so the goal was to be out to bid this spring. Am I correct? I mean, it looks like we're lagging a little bit on the schedule, but the goal was to be out to bid this spring, to be under construction by summer. It's not a long construction project, but it could slip. It all depends. But the money's there, so that's the great thing. The funding's there. We've secured the funding, so if it slips till next year, it's not the end of the world. We'll get it done. Push.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate your hard work.
Thank you.
This time I will open to public comment. If you have something you would like to address the board, please come up, state your name.
comments I want to make about the rezoning effort on Phillips and 404. There's been a lot of to-do about how this project will benefit the community and how it fits in with the comprehensive plan. What I want to point out to you is that on the north, east, and west sides of that property, it's all single-family residential. It was glossed over that on the south side that it was multifamily. Well, it's not multifamily, it's PUD, which is the same designation as that property is now. So spot zoning it as multifamily residential doesn't fit in. It is spot zoning. If you were to look at that area and look around what it is, the best zoning for that would be single-family residential, not multifamily. It doesn't fit in with the surrounding area. Secondly, the way that the entrance is set up is very similar to what we have on Holt Road with Wegmans. So if you're coming down Main Street and turn onto Phillips Road, you then have to cross lanes of traffic very quickly in order to turn into that entrance. We're going to have the same thing. I'm sure that you've all experienced coming from Rochester and coming across to go to Wegmans to pick up milk or something, and having to cross those 2-3 lanes of traffic very quickly from the off-ramp. That's concerning to me, especially in a residential neighborhood. You have children and people walking in that area much more than you even have down at Wegmans. So I really would like, actually I do have one other, I did have one other thing that I wanted to address with that. And it just slipped my mind. But I really would ask that the board consider the fact that that is a residential area before turning it over to a multi-family. The other thing that I wanted to mention was that there's also been a big impetus that there's this big investment coming into this area, and that the investment is so good for the village. What hasn't been said is, what about all the amenities that have to go along with that? Plowing. Are we going to have another private road in there? We've obviously been going through that here in the village with private roads. So we really need to weigh the options here. The investment is whatever the investor puts in, but what is that really going to bring to Webster? We will get more tax money, but are we going to spend more than gets brought in by the taxes? I just wish you would weigh those very carefully before you move ahead with that. Thank you.
Richard Walter, 20 Elm Street. I just want to agree with what the gentleman just spoke said, and also add that according to the article that was put in the paper after the last meeting, there is no problem with zoning. Well, there is definitely a problem with zoning because it would have to be changed to accommodate this project. However, the paper misquoted whoever gave them the information, where they watched it on TV or where they got their information off this meeting, and said it did require, if the zoning was no problem. Well, that zoning is a problem because it's up to this board to rezone it for this. And also, I want to reiterate on the fact that the master plan for the Village of Webster does say that this should remain open space. There is very little or any open space left in the Village of Webster. We seem to want to develop everything to the most. The only other open space is way up past State Road, up off 250, between the corner, near the corner of State and 250. And that has been in the past proposed to be a private development with private roads and private as this is. And we seem to be having a lot of trouble right now with private road in another section of the village off North Avenue and Kilburger Park. It was talked about several years ago by previous boards that we should have no more private roads because they seem to bring problems to the village. The village has no control over the road, has very little control over anything in that development once you make it private. And it just seems to run into problems. So I would rather see this left as the one, basically the only remaining open space in the village. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We'll close that part of the meeting, and we will now move on to board business. First of all, let's take a look at the workshop minutes. I will summarize them as we're not actually a board meeting per se, but Trustee Lancy and Matt Chatfield had a discussion, and we all were kind of participating in that regarding the goal of the Historic Preservation Commission to define a color palette for the village business district, which would be consistent with those used historically in western New York towns and villages. And that will, we will look to present a rewritten amendment at a village board workshop in April. We're looking to meet with Ed Atkinson, Chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission, to develop a language for that. Christina Lizak, Village Treasurer, discussed with the board the budget calendar, confirmed budget review dates. We have had one of them so far. We have one on Tuesday, February 28th at 7 o'clock, and we will have another special workshop March 14th at 7 o'clock as well. Joe O'Neill, Deputy Clerk, discussed with the board the VPN access for village employees, which would allow computer servers access from home, and talked about the need for purchasing possibly new laptop computers for that and installing antivirus software from the computer specialist that we use, L&T. The village board reviewed and noted several points of interest regarding the tentative 2017-18 fiscal year budget. Our Superintendent of Public Works, Jake Swingley, reviewed the bid packet for the construction of the cell tower, which we'll be talking about a little bit later on. He discussed the updated bid specs, and finalized version will be reviewed, and the bid will be advertised February 9th, and we opened them on February 17th. So that pretty much, and then also Superintendent Swingley discussed the tree grant, which he is in the process of writing, as I was in yesterday, and he was looking at that, and the opportunity for the village to become designated as a Tree City USA. Any questions? And I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Lancy,
Aye.
trustee Ippolito, Belkane,
Aye.
trustee Ippolito, trustee Byers,
Aye.
motion passes.
Next is the village board special workshop, and we had reviewed the budget officer's tentative budget. We made changes to bring it to the preliminary stage. And again, our next budget discussion will be on February 28th at 7 o'clock. That will be next week on Tuesday. So, any questions to that? Entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Ippolito,
Aye.
trustee Belkane,
Aye.
trustee Byers,
Aye.
trustee Lancy,
I was absent.
motion passes.
Okay. Next, resolution to approve the claims and warrants. I did not look at them.
I reviewed it.
Anybody have any particular questions want to raise? Then I will entertain a motion to approve the claims and warrants.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Trustee Ippolito,
Aye.
trustee Lancy,
Aye.
trustee Belkane,
Aye.
trustee Byers,
Aye.
motion passes.
Next, we have a resolution for authorization to pay Lou Engineers invoice totaling $892.70 for professional services rendered in December 2016 for the North Avenue Connector Project. They paid from the North Avenue Connector Project Reserve account. And I believe the itemized hours are here. Anybody have any question on those? And I will entertain a motion to pay the invoice. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Belkane,
Aye.
trustee Ippolito,
Aye.
trustee Byers,
Aye.
trustee Lancy,
Aye.
motion passes.
Next, we have a resolution to authorize Mayor Cahill to sign the escrow agreement for completion of Scenic Village Townhomes infrastructure improvements, which include the road repaving and also the sidewalks and the additional parking spaces that will be put in place. We did go over that, and I'll read just a bit of it in summary. We have an escrow agreement made the 23rd day of February 2017 by and among SVT LLC, hereafter referred to as the developer, in the village of Webster, New York, hereinafter referred to as the village, and Donald A. White Esquire, hereinafter referred to as escrow agent. Whereas the developer is the sponsor of the Scenic Village Townhomes development in the village of Webster, New York, the development, whereas the developer has agreed to escrow with the village an amount which shall be sufficient to ensure the completion of certain infrastructure improvements in the development as set forth on the attached estimate of Thailand International, the engineer, dated January 23, 2017, the engineer's letter. Whereas the village attorney, Donald A. White, has agreed to act as escrow agent for the deposit. It is therefore agreed as follows: the amount of $57,868. The deposit shall be delivered to the escrow agent on or before 5 business days following the full execution of this agreement in the form of either a cashier's check or attorney's trust account check, subject to collection of the amount of the deposit payable to the order of the escrow agent as escrow agent, or wire transfer pursuant to instructions of escrow agent. And the escrow agent shall hold the deposit in escrow in his law firm's attorney, IOLA trust account at Bank of America, and shall pay over or apply such proceeds in accordance with the terms of this agreement. Basically, we are looking to have the road completed satisfactorily by October 15, 2017. In terms of the road and the sidewalks, and that also includes the parking places as well. I believe that there are 5 of them. And then the sidewalks, they are to be completed by, I believe it is 19, November 3rd, 2019. And if it is done, then the developer, anything that is left over will go to them. If not, then the village will take the responsibility, using the monies that are in escrow, to take it upon themselves to complete the project.
Or turn the money over to the homeowners association, or pay
Or
the homeowner,
for the
some other
road,
entity.
for the road work, which would be in October. We would hope to get that done by the end of the season, November. And in the future for the sidewalk, it would be then to the village, but the village would turn it over to the homeowners association in order for them to complete the sidewalk project. Is there any discussion?
No?
Any further discussion at home? That pretty well?
Yeah.
Then I will ask for a motion to authorize Mayor Cahill to sign the escrow agreement.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Trustee Belkane? Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Alito?
Aye.
Trustee Byers?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next is a resolution to accept and to approve Schedule A to be added to the MCWA retail lease agreement, and for Mayor Cahill to sign this. What it basically does, it finally spells out those lands that are part of the lease agreement and those that are accepted from it. And that would include then, especially as we look at it, 1073 Webster Road, the land all except that northern portion of the Webster Road water tank parcel identified on the survey map prepared by Madge Land Surveying, annexed here to and as described on the attached Exhibit 1. The buildings as well, and that would be for our use for the cell tower. I think everybody has had an opportunity to look at that particular parcel of land. Do we have any questions or discussions on that? And I will entertain a motion for Mayor Cahill to sign to approve Schedule A.
It actually shouldn't be for the mayor to approve it, it's for this board.
For him to sign.
There's nothing to sign.
Nothing to
It's just
sign?
It's a Schedule A that's going to attach to the already signed several years ago retail
Just our
lease agreement with the county water authority. It's just board approval, there's nothing to sign.
Okay, thank you.
Well, in that case, I'll cross this off. And do I have a motion to approve this Schedule A?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Trustee Alito?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Belkane? Trustee Byers?
Aye.
Motion passes.
So whoever in the village is the custodian, there's 2 duplicate originals of the lease agreement. The village has one, the water authority has one. Whoever's got the village's one, I don't know if it's Jake or if it's the clerk, but you gotta make sure that it gets attached to the agreement, to the lease.
Does that need any notarization or anything along those lines?
Pardon me?
Does that need notarization or anything along those lines?
No, it needs a staple.
Done.
Which requires a state board meeting. Moving along, our next item is a resolution to accept and approve the voluntary demotion request of Fritz Hamel from working foreman to operator, laborer, mechanic, step 6, consistent with the wage rate schedule currently in effect, and this would be effective immediately.
We have a copy and paste error to point out that step 6 should read step 8 in that particular case.
So we are amending this to step 8.
Yes.
Let's keep it step 6. He doesn't mind.
I'm just saying if it's thrown anything at me.
I gotta go, yeah.
And all of you have had an opportunity to read it.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to accept and approve this voluntary motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Abolito?
Aye.
Trustee Belkane?
Aye.
Trustee Byers?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And now we have a resolution to authorize the promotion of James Clancy to the position of working foreman. Step 6,
That's correct.
consistent with the wage rate schedule currently in effect, effective February 24th, 2017. And that was posted and all of that.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Belkane?
Aye.
Trustee Abolito?
Aye.
Trustee Byers?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you for all your efforts there, Fritzer. We've
Oh, I
enjoyed
do.
working with you all these years.
He's not going anywhere.
Now leaving.
No, he's not leaving.
Jim, don't push it.
Yeah.
No.
We can't get rid of your phone until tomorrow.
Oh, no.
What was the color of the paint, Fritz, that we talked about? What was the color of the paint in there? Was it morning fog or something along those lines?
I call it
You call it
It
gray.
is more.
But there was a name for it, and I walked in one name. He's been in charge of that 7 o'clock or 7:30 roll call and assignments, and I said, very aptly named, the new color, morning fog.
Yeah.
You guys are in a fog.
Similar to your shirt.
Somewhat like this, I
Yeah,
think.
that's one.
This is evening fog. Same thing, morning.
Oh,
All right, Jake, I don't know if you want to address this, but we need to have an authorization, a motion to authorize or to reject, I guess it would be, right?
That would be the first motion.
All of the bids that came in, we're going to reject the bids that came in for the cell tower. And so I will take a motion to ask for a motion to rescind or to reject all bids that have come in. There were 5 of them.
And I trust you all understand what the issue was with the apparent low bidder.
Yes. Yep. I had a conversation with Jake Henderson.
Yeah, you ready to speak with that? Okay.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Trustee Abolito?
Aye.
Trustee Belkane? Trustee Byers?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And in light of that, we are now going to post a notice to bidders, and the Village of Webster will receive sealed proposals for a telecommunication tower in the Village of Webster, Monroe County, New York. Proposals will be received, bids publicly open and read at the following place and time. The place is the office of the village clerk, Village of Webster offices, 28 West Main Street, Webster, New York, 14580. The date is March 10th, 2017, and the time is now 1 p.m. To open those bids. Bids received by the village after the time specified for bid opening will be date stamped as evidence of late arrival and returned to the bidder unopened. I believe that there will be a general outline of work only shall be asked, shall not be construed as a complete description of work performed, and we're also looking, I think, for a pre-bid conference. Is that correct?
Yes, it was down
Okay, scheduled for 8:30 a.m. Monday, March 6th, at the site of the proposed tower, 1073 Webster Road. All interested bidders are encouraged to attend. And at that point, I believe you're also going to do some more specific specifications that were not previous.
Yes, we're gonna, apparently, one of the aspects of it, the supply of the tower, was inconsistent with what many of the bidders would expect. I thought, I guess not bidding on towers every day, that where it said in bold letters, furnishing all labor and materials, that you would supply all labor and materials. Consistent with practices in the industry, I think that was not, they didn't expect that. A couple of them did not expect that to include the tower itself, and the bids that were previously obtained reflected that. So in order to clarify any issues, we're going to make sure there's a pre-bid conference and say, you know, the labor and materials for building the tower include the tower. It's, I guess I can see when you're doing it all day, every day with different people, and usually the tower is supplied. I can see where that's something that, you know, not being in tune with the industry, I guess I can see what it would be, but it seems, it's funny to me that you don't include the tower and the kids build the tower. Maybe we need pictures, people working, the tower, this thing.
Well, it must be Verizon and AT&T, and they must supply their own towers all the time.
Yeah, very often, yeah.
They probably buy them in bulk or something.
To go check their recycle bin.
So as we make that authorization today, we will be able to go to the paper tomorrow. It'll be in the paper next Thursday, and that will then allow the specified time for them to get the packet and to turn it in on the 10th. Do I have a motion to authorize a revision here, notice to bidders in regards to the rebid of the cell tower?
I'll second it.
Trustee Abolito?
Aye.
Trustee Lancy?
Aye.
Trustee Belkane? Trustee Byers?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Don? Anything for us?
So, I'm meeting with some members of the village band on Monday. I got a call this afternoon, kind of out of the blue. Apparently, they've had a little committee trying to organize the village band. Apparently, even though it's been around for 50 years, they don't have many written procedures, bylaws, anything. So they wanted to come up with stuff like that. So they also had questions about, well, we don't have a checking account. I said, well, there's a reason you don't have a checking account, because you're not a separate entity other than the village. You don't have your own tax ID number, you can't get a checking account. So,
I think they've also asked about fundraising.
so they can't do that either.
No, they can't do that.
No, they might, I'll talk to them, though. They might be smart to form their own not-for-profit.
Yeah.
And then they can have their own checking account, and they can have their own fundraising events and all that stuff.
And I did talk with someone who was on the board previously regarding bylaws, which was suggested to them, and they kind of said no to that a while back. So now they're interested in it, I believe, of some kind. But they don't have any. We've researched back to the point where 50 years ago, in terms of the minutes, and there's not much in there. There was a discussion, and suddenly the band was formed. So there's not a whole lot there.
Well, at this point, if they want to have bylaws, that's good. It'll be subject to the village board's approval.
Sure.
So I'm meeting with them Monday.
They're
at
calling
4
you?
o'clock. What?
Are they calling you?
I'm
I'm
meeting
going
with
to
them.
contact Mr. Indiano myself. I was made aware of this yesterday.
Sylvia Hungerford called. And I'm meeting with her, and she said maybe one or two other people Monday.
Are you meeting here?
Yeah.
What time?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock, Monday?
She claims that they're also supposed to be on your agenda for the workshop the next day. I said, I have no clue what's on that workshop agenda, but,
I haven't seen anything.
well,
Just,
they-
haven't seen
That's-
anything.
They're not on it.
well,
We have
that's,
to ask.
well, that's why she wanted to meet so soon, because she says, well, we're gonna go in front of the village board at their workshop the next day on Tuesday. I'm like, oh, okay, it's news to me, but.
Okay then.
She calls me late on a Thursday, says, I need to meet with you by Tuesday. And I'm like, wow, that's, a short notice.
Oh, boy.
So I expect them at the workshop on Tuesday.
Well, they're not on
Put them on.
the, yeah.
All right, 4 o'clock,
We
Monday,
need to talk.
here.
In the little conference room.
I'll be there.
Okay. Well, there's a key, you don't use the credit.
Anything else?
Nope.
We move then to office, financial statements for January. Any particular questions that you have? I personally did not have any either, so. Okay. Anything else, Josette, for the office?
Nope. Trying to keep up with passports this week. Everybody seems to be on vacation from school and everyone wants.
Mhm.
It's good.
Good for the conference.
All right. Then moving on, Will,
Yes, sir.
you are center of attention.
Yay. You can tell the complaint report is light for January, because this is the time of month that I get all of my administrative items taken care of for annual reports. And it's also the deadline for the Community Development Block Grant, which Jake and I both worked on. And it's in and out, and we just received an email recently from the gentleman that helps us with the grants from the county, and I guess we're gonna have to sit down, like a pre-construction meeting sometime in the near future, to work on the sidewalk replacement as part of the first phase of a, I don't know how many phase project we're looking at the sidewalks. We're still arguing about that one, so. So my annual reports, annual census reports, working on the stormwater management report, got the seeker completed for the new law that is proposed for next month, which is the zoning change, if that goes through or not. Various other things, Matt had mentioned about Charlie Fitzsimmons, how he's beginning to do some work over on East Main Street with the Bauman Holdings, the previous Bauman Holdings. The first thing he's doing right now, as he said, is working on a salon, just obtained the permit for that, which is, it's 28 East Main Street, so if you're looking at all those buildings, where that alleyway is, it's the building to the right of that alleyway. It's a nice looking reddish looking building. So he started working on that. They had previously obtained a demolition permit to clean out all that and then start with basically a skeleton, and then as each tenant moves in, then they'll build to suit. So I'm happy about that. Plus he also included me in that, I asked him about the bakery. I said, where's the bakery? I thought that we were going to get the bakery first. And he says, well, we're looking at going into the building behind 44 East Main, which is where the OTB was, that area over there. So that'll be nice. So I'm glad that he's over there. He's doing some nice things. North Ponds, Phase 4, you can see that that's underway. They got the garage up, slabs in. All the foundations are just about done over there, so they'll be doing some framing for the rest of it. So that's been keeping me busy every single day. Plus, every time I go to the trailer, there's always another question, a code question and everything like that. So they're like, what is your opinion? I said, I'm not allowed to have opinions. I'm not paid to have opinions. So, 104 East Main Street, I've received a lot of phone calls from potential investors. Right now, the company hired by the bank is in there cleaning it out. And so if anybody wants to purchase the money pit, they can have it. I've seen the building. I know what kind of condition it's in. I'm not a contractor, but it's going to take a lot of money to bring that up to snuff. Yeah. So
that trade in it.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that would have been an interesting
Yeah.
remodeling project too, if the tree went one way or the other. So it was just interesting.
Remodeled that truck pretty good.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
it did hit the vehicles, but as they say in the insurance business, it's an act of God. I don't know who he was mad at, who owns the cars, but I did a number over there. Also, one real quick thing, did everybody understand what was going on with the whole escrow thing when the board was talking about that? You familiar with what they were talking about? Anybody? Nod your head so I can hear the rattle. You got it? Okay. You don't have to, you don't want to explain? You do want to explain? Are you saying yes? Okay, Nancy. What it is when you have a major development, typically what happens is when they're coming in for site plan review, the infrastructure, which means the roads, sidewalks, streetlights, whatever it may be, whatever the planning board decides is very important to that project. They require the developer to have what's called a letter of credit typically. It's in our code, it's required in our code. And it goes 2 to 3 years is the letter of credit. You figure, depending on the size of the project and how long it's going to take. And the reason why you look at a 2 to 3 year mark is because material goes up in price over the years and everything like that. So it's a renewable thing. And what the letter of credit does is it's kind of like a financial guarantee that if a developer reneges on the development, we could use the letter of credit to go in, and rather than spending taxpayer dollars, we take from that money and we go in and actually finish the infrastructure that's required. It's imperative, if it's a dedicated road, and dedicated streetlights, and dedicated sidewalks and things like that. But, with a lot of private roads like we were just discussing, and it's true that the previous board did talk about possibly doing away with private drives because of these situations, but that never came to fruition. So that's basically what a letter of credit. In this case, they're doing an escrow. The banks are out of the picture, but the money is still a guarantee to finish what's left to be done with the infrastructure. That's it. I'm done.
You're done?
I think
I have a
so.
question for you because my short-term recall is going. What happened to the house on Sherwood? Where does that stand?
It's been purchased, and I'm still waiting to hear from the gentleman that purchased it. He's done some,
It was up for auction in October, November, is that it?
yep. So he's done some investigative work to see how much money he's got to put into it, investigate. But I haven't heard from him since. So I know it's owned, it's purchased. The good thing about that is, and I told him, I said, just so you know, I said, whether you begin to work on the house or not, I said, when that grass grows in the yard and everything, that's your responsibility to maintain that and take care of it. He said, yep, I understand. So the neighbors have been kind. They've been taking care of it themselves. And maybe it's not out of kindness, it's out of necessity, so they don't have to look at it, but I probably would do the same. However, he understands fully well that his responsibility is to maintain the property.
Thank you. You got through all those folders on your table?
Yeah, I found things I was missing.
Yeah. Good to do that one to you.
I have an organized mess.
Good to clean.
Thank you, Will. And now, I think we have a brief report from the Department of Public Works.
Did you say breathe?
He's not feeling well, so we might get one.
I was just going to ask if Will can elaborate on with the Monroe County Planning and Development. Very much advantage of community development block grant for the county with all the municipalities except for, I believe, the city of Rochester, Roundabout, and Greece.
Yeah, any of those big,
The rest of us all, are in cooperation with the Community Development Block Grant, and the county does that planning and development, but they also work on a program that doesn't get a lot of publicity.
oh, the home improvement?
And I don't know if you want to talk on that.
Yeah.
I know we're talking, I think it's a good thing that they
Okay,
do. And
well, I know I've mentioned before, and usually, one of the things I try and do is, with code enforcement, is to try and be proactive to help people rather than be punitive. They kind of go hand in hand sometimes, unfortunately. The only time you get a nasty gram from me is if you don't communicate with me. That's it. You got to communicate with me. If you call me back and talk to me, we can work things out. If you don't call me, then I'm thinking you're ignoring me, and then we move to the next steps. That's it, in a nutshell. However, there are times when I'm able to help people through the Monroe County Home Improvement Grant, which is a service that Monroe County provides through HUD. And you can get free money if you qualify to have a roof, to have a water heater, to have your sewer lateral replaced, to have sidings or windows, siding, windows, whatever it may be, painting, whatever your house needs specifically. The caveat is you have to be the owner of it, you have to have owned it for a certain period of time, you have to be up on your taxes, and there is an income limit. But I think there was only one person out of, I don't know how, I've been doing this for, gosh, how many years now, 15 years? There's only been one person that hasn't qualified because they made too much money. But the hard part for some people is they have to go through your life history as far as the savings and everything like that, but that's part of it. However, the outcome is you can get either a free grant or a very low interest loan to have your house fixed up or taken care of. And it's worked very well in several applications when I've had to help people through the code enforcement process. And sometimes, if I do issue a notice of violation, they get moved up on the list, so that's a plus sometimes. So.
I know a roof was done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple of them. Yep.
Do we have a notice of that on our bulletin board as we come in?
We have, well,
Or not?
if you come in on our kiosk where we have all the pamphlets, it's all sitting there. We also have a link on our website that goes right to Monroe County. So, it talks about the home improvement grant, and the reason why we do the link is because when the county updates everything, it automatically is updated, so we don't have to worry about updating anything on our side.
All right. Thank you very much. Jake, are we going to be going into executive session or not tonight? That for March? Do you have anything update? Or
There's the next time we're going to meet with the union regarding the contract negotiations, we're going to have a joint work session. It's March 28th. It's been scheduled for. That was the first available date that they had to get all the people there. So that's going to be March 28th, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, it's fortunate we're getting together. It's unfortunate that we have to wait till the end of March. But
do you have anything to add to Will's talking about the home improvement?
no, I just wanted to mention that because when I talked to the gentleman from the CDBG, or that manages that program for the county, that's one of the things that is also important. It can really make an impact and improve the community or an area or a neighborhood if there's one property that the people are having trouble. And it works its most effective, I think, through code enforcement, because that's often the first thing identified is if somebody says, hey, there's a problem here, check it out, and it's a great tool. Or occasionally they'll approach with an issue up in where I track the sewer laterals there with Orangeburg pipe, which is essentially it's like a paper towel tube, impregnated with tar. And they said they had about a 40-year life expectancy, and they're 60 years old, so they get their money's worth out of it, but it's very often not too cheap, depending on where the main is, to have that replaced.
depending on the income level of the individuals and that, their situation, they might be eligible for this program. That's really helpful. You know, and Will covered everything marvelously. I've just got a few things from the DPW side. You mentioned in the reading of the minutes, the workshop minutes, the Tree City USA designation. That application was submitted. They got a notice back that it was forwarded from the state forester on, so it's gone through the first step, so we should have that soon. The additional points on the grant to come along with that, and that important designation as well. So updated STP project, the top was removed from the digester just yesterday. Went really well. I've got some pictures of it. It looks like, if I can Photoshop them correctly, it looks like a UFO flying over the plant, so I might do that sometime in my off time. But that's sitting down, you know, on the side on a tarp, and I can also share pictures of the interior of it if somebody doesn't want to eat for a few days. So I'll have that available for whoever wants to see it. You do scratch and sniff? Also, been as part of the budget discussions, we've been talking about replacing another truck this year, and we put in a few trucks, but one of them being the six-wheel dump trucks. We put in some budget numbers together for those vehicles, and we, through some of the contacts, we learned of an opportunity for a truck in the town of Shelby. It's out on the far west side. They purchased one, kind of jumped the gun and purchased one that they ultimately don't really need. They were planning on having a purpose for it that didn't come to fruition. It's a 2016 truck with 1,500 miles on it, set up with a plow and a wheel salter. We went out and looked at it. It's a nice truck. I would like, I guess, permission from the board, if I can, to negotiate or to offer a price. Obviously, any purchase of the truck would have to be reviewed and approved by the board. I'd like to be able to make them an offer on the vehicle, and then accept any counter offer back, and then report that back to the board so that we can get to a fair price for that truck. It would represent, I'm guessing, a savings of around $20,000, if not more, on the cost of a new truck would be kind of equally equipped. This one I would try. I've talked to them before about their front plow. They use up a single one-direction plow. It's a town, so they're really set up to just a lot of straight runs, and they're running. We usually use a hydro turn plow in the village, especially getting around a tighter corner or there's a vehicle there or something. We want to have that flexibility. That plow, I talked to an upfitter to see if that plow would have any value to trade in. The plow that's on it right now isn't a real common one, so he said, no, you can take that to an auction or something, and better yet, if they use it, let's leave it there with them and reduce the cost of the truck by a bit. So I've got some numbers. Obviously, I don't think it's the best negotiation technique to share the numbers before the negotiation starts, because that kind of shows your hand. But I will, just generically, I guess, I can approach them with some numbers based on, I've got two appraisals of the vehicle. One of them was sight unseen, but a picture, and I had all the specs of the vehicle from the original construction of it sent. I got another one, it's a Mack truck, Mack. I got another appraisal from a Mack dealer, and it came out with about 5 different, the retail finance, wholesale value, trade-in value, purchase value. And I'm thinking, we're not really looking to finance it or wholesale it or trade it in, so I looked at, the purchase retail prices and see what those are the value to us. I kind of combined those two different appraisals, took what it would cost for us to make it fit our needs, and kind of ready to present to them a detailed list and showing them how I came up with the numbers as well, and see if we can get what they would say on it. So
going okay?
Yeah, I think just, okay, or
Okay,
just a
I mean, if it's
notification.
gonna represent a savings, go ahead and pursue it, and, let us know.
Yeah, so to come back to the board before there's anything spent. Honestly, I assume they want to get rid of it before June, so it would be a budget modification, but then it would be an equal budget modification next year's budget, because we're planning on doing next year, we just wouldn't do, so that would come back
Well,
out.
that, yeah.
And then plus some additional savings, so, we would just do the headline. That's all that one. And I just want a final note, I don't know if all the board has heard, but we lost a business owner here in the village. He's been here a long time, and he's a real craftsman that I don't think we're gonna be able to replace for sure, not just from his business standpoint, but his personality and who he was. A real nice guy was Terry Grayson, who ran the Webster Shoe Repair. He passed away last week after that, so I just want to make sure you guys do, and it's gonna be a sad. Gonna miss him. He's kind of a
Great guy.
fixture. Yeah.
Absolutely a great guy, everybody's friend.
Yep.
Yep.
There was, so.
I'll miss seeing him sitting out on the sidewalk there in front of his shop,
By relation to, Grayson,
Yes.
Blaze,
Blaze.
his brother.
Doc, yeah, it's Doc's brother.
Yeah, that was really sad.
And I didn't realize, I was talking to my father about him, that apparently his, I call him Doc, but Blaze and Terry's dad ran the shoe store there.
Yes.
And I didn't realize that Terry took over for him. So it's been there quite a while.
Yes, it has. I would be amazed at what we'd find in the back part of
Yeah.
the building. Half the time when I take shoes or boots in there, he wouldn't even give you a ticket. He'd say, well, they're going to be the smallest ones I have in here. So, okay, dear. Great guy, just absolutely. Yeah, definitely going to be missed.
That's it, I tried keeping it short.
is that it?
Yes.
I want to make note, public notification, serial bond interest payment on the bond obtained in 2012 for $1,300,000 will be made in the amount of $15,287.50 on March 15, 2017. This bond was issued for the financing of the STP grid system, the STP reconstruction, and the water tank work. So just make note of that interest will be paid on March 15th. Our next village meeting will be the workshop on the 28th. That will be a budget workshop as well as possibly the village band. The village board meeting will be on the 9th of March, and we have a special budget workshop scheduled for March 14th. That'll be at 7 o'clock. Any other events going on? Well, if we have no other business, anybody? Then I will take a motion to close this meeting. It is now 8:43.
Trustee Alito? Trustee Belkane? Trustee Byers?
Aye.
Trustee Nancy? Motion passes.
Mr. Byers, when is Brittany Woods going to be on the agenda again?
March
The 22nd,
23.
Yeah,
23.
23.
Is after voting on that night, or are they going to still be talking about it?
I believe that we are talking about over the seeker.
Yeah.
Seeker and
The
the
seeker.
vote.
And the vote.
Yeah, and the vote.
That would be the public hearing,
Yeah,
right?
No.
No,
we had
we
we
had
had
the
a
vote.
public
Okay,
hearing.
so this would be the vote?
this would be a vote.
Okay.
We got to do the seeker and
I did
And,